Hello everybody, welcome to Programming with Ruby, episode 15, Error Handling. I'm Tyler, and this video is brought to you by manwithcode.com. Now, in this episode I'm going to be telling you what errors are and what error handling is, which will kind of go together. And I'll be telling you what begin and end blocks are, how to use rescue, ensure, and the method raise. So, let's get started. So what are errors? There are two types of errors or problems within programs. The first is bugs, and the second is errors. Now, you've most likely heard of both of these, but what are they? Bugs are more subtle problems. Maybe they're design problems, or maybe the programmer just typed something a little bit wrong, but it still ran. The program still runs and acts normally, but it might be outputting the wrong data or messing something else up. It is completely up to the programmer to find these and fix these. Errors, on the other hand, completely stop the program from running. You know when you have an error. And there are ways of handling most types of errors. There are other kinds, like power failure. You can't really prepare too much to stop that unless you're the user, but the programmer can't do much about that. And handling those errors is what we're going to be learning about in this episode. So what is the process of error handling? Well, it's possible, like I said, to catch some of the errors and stop them from crashing the whole program. Now, when you catch those errors, you can usually do something about them. Maybe you have a contingency plan, maybe you just inform the user, maybe they did something wrong. It's not your fault, you're an awesome programmer, it's never your fault. Now, there are many things that can create errors, such as trying to read from a file that doesn't exist, or a user entering bad data. Say maybe they have to enter in a number and they enter in a word because, I don't know, because they want to do that. Or maybe you're trying to call a method that doesn't exist, and the list goes on. Now, some errors you can combat by using methods like file.exists, which you learned about a couple episodes ago, I believe, and to check for them, but there are other times when you want to do it a different way, or when a method like file.exist doesn't exist. So, this episode, I'm going to be telling you how to handle those errors. Alright, the first steps is the begin end block. So begin, end, and here is where the code that could induce errors. Yippee, errors. Alright, now, like I said, within here is where you put any code that has the possibility of creating an error. But this block within itself does not actually do anything magical at all. It's just code. To actually handle the errors that get generated, you have to use the rescue keyword. So, handles the error. Now, so maybe if a file doesn't exist, you would just print out to the user, sorry, the file you gave me doesn't exist. Very nice way of handling it, and the program also doesn't crash. So, now, whatever between rescue and begin is the code that creates the error, and rescue and end is the code that handles the error. But what if you need to handle more than one type of error? What if a lot of things could go wrong? This obviously isn't going to work all that well. So what you have to do is you specify the type of the error after rescue. So maybe you have an argument error, which refers to the arguments or parameters when calling a method, not having an argument with your user. I'm sorry. But that's a good idea. If your program can argue with the user, I salute you. That is a great idea. Or no method error if you called a method that doesn't exist. So yeah, handle it. And maybe if you want to have one catch-all, so just rescue, like everything else. Now, what happens if you're trying to catch a certain type of error, but you don't know the name of the error? What do? Well, the first thing I might do would be to create the error itself. Maybe by just, doing file.new. Let's see, doesn't exist. Try to read from something that doesn't exist. That would be a way to introduce an error. Or maybe if you or you could go online to rubydoc.org and look at all the classes, and if you find a class that has the word error at the end of it, then you know that. Or you can also go to this really long URL, which will also be in the show notes or video description, whatever you want to call it, zenspider.com/languages/quick-ref.html% that link will be in the video description, but if you want to go there right now, you can, and that has a list of all the errors. Very good. Now, let's say maybe there's something that needs to happen whether or not an error happens, because if an error happens between the begin and the rescue, it doesn't continue after that error happens. It jumps right to the rescue block. Maybe there's something that has to happen every single time. Like if you're working with a database and you're handling errors that could happen while you're working with the database. You need to close the connection to the database at the end. So how do you do that? You do that with the ensure keyword, and whatever's after the ensure keyword happens no matter what. Yay. Now that's basically it to error. That's all you need to know about error handling. But what if you want to raise errors of your own? You sly little person. Alright. We do def my method data, and we're going to come up with a fake method, but whatever, if data dot is malformed, then we'll do raise argument error, and that's how you raise errors. Just raise and whatever the error is. Very nice. And why would you ever want to use this? Because I don't know, it doesn't seem all that great. Well, it can help prevent bugs. If you don't check for this, bugs may occur. It's a good idea to check that your data is correct before using it. And also, if other programmers are using your code, maybe they think they're doing something right, but they're not. It's crashing the whole program and raising something like an argument error is a lot more visible and will cause them to fix what they're doing wrong a lot more. It'll, encourage them a lot more to fix it than just doing something like put s, hey, that's wrong. Now, if you cause the argument error with raise, then it will force their attention to it. And it can also be a very helpful reminder to you too if you ever need to pinch yourself via code. And that's actually all you need to know. Just don't forget begin, rescue, ensure, and raise. That's what you learned today. So, if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, please leave a comment on this page or email me at tyler@manwithcode.com. I will read everything that you write. So, hey. And don't forget to donate. I've made these videos for free. Why? I have to eat too, So please, it would be wonderful if you could donate. Goodbye.